Well, welcome back to our next edition of What's Up America with Mike Kara, as always proudly broadcasting from Ocoee, Florida, USA, planet Earth. And my guest today is Jackey Neyman Jones, who is today from Western Oregon, about 45 miles from Salem. And Jackey is a former child actress known for being in one of the alleged worst movies of all time, Manos, The Hands of Faith, and she has her own YouTube channel where she mainly talks about her experiences working on the movie. And we're so glad, Jackey, that you can tell us a little bit more about your YouTube channel as well as your experiences on the movie. I say alleged because I haven't had a chance to see the movie, so you never know. I kind of like that sort of stuff. But can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, this experience? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that your parents as well as you that were working on the movie then?
Yes, my dad starred in it. He was the main actor playing the part of the master. And they needed a child, and he happened to have a child. So he invited me to be in it, and they needed a dog, and we had a Doberman. So the Doberman played the evil master's dog. But if you watch the film, you'll see that he's definitely not evil. He's a kind of a wiggly Doberman. But my mother made the costumes. My dad also created the sets. He did the props, the artwork. He was a very good artist. And so a lot of his work was part of it.
Oh, great. So, do you remember, a lot of it? Do you remember, the process or how long it took to film and all that? Or?
Yeah, I remember a lot because after the premiere on November 15th, 1966, it was kind of laughed out of the theater, and the theater canceled the rest of the run. So nobody really ever saw it again. It just disappeared, and nobody talked about it because where it was filmed in El Paso was a very tight-knit artistic community in theater, and people were very, very kind to let it just rest. But to me, as a child, even though it was a humiliating experience at the premiere, it was still what I always remembered as the best summer of my life because I got to spend time with my dad, and I got to be the only kid on set, and it was filmed nights and weekends, so I got to stay up late, and so I held on to those memories, and I told my friends stories as I grew up and went to high school, and not that anybody ever believed me, but I told my friends about this movie that I was part of, but it was gone. It disappeared. And in high school, or after high school, I started searching for it. And this is all pre-internet in the 70s. And I was calling university libraries, and I was just looking to see if I could find a copy of it, but it just didn't seem to exist. And then 27 years went by. 1993, my dad just happened to be watching Mystery Science Theater and saw it when it came on, and the rest is basically history. Yeah, it became known as one of Mystery Science Theater. It still is known as one of their favorite worst movies, and it's belovedly known as the worst movie ever made. And it's been quite a ride, I'll tell you. I've enjoyed all of it. So I wrote a book about it called Growing Up with Manos, The Hands of Fate. And the subtitle is How I Was the Child Star of the Worst Movie Ever Made and Lived to Tell the Story. And I wrote it down while the memories were still, I've been holding on to those memories my whole life. And while there were still people still living that were part of it, the original, I was able to interview people and get a lot more information. And so I wrote a book. And I'm proud to say it's 4.5 stars on Amazon. So it's a really good book about a really bad movie.
Oh, great. So I mean, when you were writing this book, do you feel like the memories, came back? I mean, did you do additional research? Did you watch the movie again, or?
Yeah, I had to watch it a few times for sure, but I talked to a lot of people. I wrote down my memories, and then just through a series of things, I was able to connect with people. Like I had connected with Hal Warren, who created the film. He wrote, directed, and starred in it. He played the role of my father, the traveling man, and his family. And so I was able to interview some of his family, his kids and grandkids. And I found a couple other people that had been on set. And I was able to talk to them. I was able to talk to people's families. And my dad was still living. So I was able to grill him on it as well, to fill out the stories. Yeah. And then I did some history about El Paso and just details about what it was like in the 60s.
That's great. So just to be clear, that your dad was in the movie. However, in the movie, your dad was your movie dad was actually then another guy. Then.
Yes, yeah. My movie dad was the guy. He wrote, directed it, and starred in it.
So I mean, it was that an interesting experience then, having your dad in the movie, but then have someone else play your father? I mean, was that something new to you, or?
As far as me acting, it was, but our family was different. We lived in South El Paso. We were just 3 miles from the Rio Grande River in Juarez, Mexico. But my dad, we were the only white family in our neighborhood. And my dad was not only in theater, but he was a really wonderful artist. But he painted a lot of nudes. And so my dad, he was pretty hip. He lived outside the lines, and it wasn't real. We were different. Let's just say that my family was very different for where we were living. And a lot of the kids, I think, became friends of mine just so they could see the inside of our house. Check out some of this artwork and go tell stories about it. So my dad was in theater, and that's how I learned to read, was running lines with him. And I spent as much time at the theater as I could, digging around backstage or the light booth. So I was used to things outside the lines, I guess. But I was very shy, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to act, but I was sure that I wanted to hang out with my dad.
Oh, great. So now, Jackey, so after that movie, then, it definitely changed your life. But I mean, I'm not sure, did that direct you toward acting? Or, I mean, did your parents encourage you acting? Or, I mean, were you in any other movies? Or where did your life go from there?
Yeah, well, when I took acting classes. My dad, for a while, was actually executive director of the local theater, and I took acting classes at the theater, and I got to be in another play. Yeah, I got to be one of the schoolgirls in The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, and my dad played Gordon Lowther, the main male lead, and they shipped in an actress from Los Angeles to play Julie, or to play Miss Brody, and that was Julie Adams, the actress Julie Adams. And so I got to meet her and be in a play with her. But when I went into high school, I got very involved in theater. But I've always been an artist, and I still am. I'm a professional artist, and that's how I've made my living. But because of Manos, in the last few years, 10 years or so, I've had the opportunity to be a part of a number of films. Most of them are well, they're all pretty independent, but most of them are low budget. But just, I think it was like 6 years ago, Patrick McGee came up to Oregon to film a Bigfoot movie, and I had the opportunity to get to know him, and he brought his whole crew up here, and they filmed a couple scenes in my backyard with me and my whole family. And Patrick McGee, he's a makeup artist. He does costuming, and he created the Alien versus Predator costumes. And he actually played the role of the Predator in the costume in the film Alien versus Predator. So he wrote his own movie, and you can see it. I think it's on Netflix. It's called Primal Rage. It's a Bigfoot film. So he built a Bigfoot costume, he plays the role, and he wrote and directed the film.
Okay. So, Jackey, the big question about, the movie we're talking about here, is it available? I mean, can you watch it somewhere? Or?
Manos, the Hands of Fate, or Primal Manos, Hands of Fate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's on YouTube. I think you can. I mean, it's available a lot of different ways. I have it here. This is a restoration of it. It was actually restored in HD Blu-ray about 6 years ago. A young man, Ben Solovey, found the original work print that went through the camera in 1966 with, Scotch tape and fingerprints and everything. And he raised $46,000 on Kickstarter to restore it. And now that's an experience, because a lot of people say they can't watch Manos without Mystery Science Theater riffing it. They say it's painful. It's kind of hard to watch. But it's compelling for some reason. And but the restoration is a whole nother experience. It's a really bad film, but it looks beautiful. Because it's, the color and everything's nice.
Oh, great. So, Jackey, we want to talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. So, I mean, is that what you mainly do, is talk about this Manos movie, or do you have other things that you talk about? Or?
Well, I'm still working on that YouTube channel, and I just, I'm building a website right now to kind of bring everything together, because, I'm kind of ADD, I guess. I just have so many different projects going. I do so many different things. I've made my living as a professional artist, so I show my art. On my YouTube channel, I've also read my book, so you don't even have to buy my book to hear it. I read it by the chapter, and I'm just using the YouTube channel kind of to show all the things that I do. I also teach painting classes, and I'm starting to record them so I can make them available to more people than for people just to come in person. And
Great.
And I'm working on a web series. There's just a whole lot of different things. Who knows what's next? I'm just glad to have a platform that gives me the opportunity to put all these things in one place.
Oh, great. So, is the web series something that, you're working on now? Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, Willow Polson. She lives down near Yosemite, California, and she's already created some web series, and she's working on one right now about the Manos universe, and it's called the Debbie Chronicles. Debbie was my character's name in the film, and it's my character all these years later, and I have escaped the Valley Lodge, this evil cult, and now I'm battling supernatural evil in the world with help. And I just talked to her a couple days ago, and she's expanding the universe so that it's about, so that every episode will be highlight another character. So we're bringing more characters into it just to make it more interesting. So it becomes more of a team of people that are battling this evil in the world. But we've already filmed the pilot episode, which we filmed in late April, and it's in production now. So and she was hoping to have it done by the end of October, but that was pushing it. So it'll be a little bit longer. Film stuff always takes more time.
Oh, so now, Jackey, with your art, have you incorporated that? With the movies, and have you done a lot of artwork? With these movies you've been involved with, or?
Yes, I filmed Manos Returns, which is another version of the Manos universe. I wrote and co-produced and starred in Manos Returns in 2016, and that's available on DVD. And I star in that, and I found the woman who played my mother in the original, and we brought her out from Colorado. She got to be part of it. And my dad was still living. We got him in it. So everybody we could get from the original, we pulled it all together. And I'm very proud of that film. What was I going to say about it? Let's see. Yeah, we filmed that about 5 years ago. Oh, and I did everything my dad did in the original film. And my mother, I created and made the main costumes, designed, and I did the artwork and the sculpture, and pretty much did all the things that my dad did in the original.
Oh, so that's great, Jackey, that you're still, being able to be involved with this man, this Manos, that universe, and it seems like you'd be up for if presented the opportunity to maybe do more Manos things.
Yeah. In fact, I've been in a couple different films lately, just small films, but people are inviting me into these opportunities. And I was a guest at a small Comic-Con convention a couple months ago, and I had the opportunity to meet Cesar Garcia, who was also a guest. And he was in Breaking Bad and Fast and Furious, and really sweet guy. He's a badass in the films, but he's a really sweet guy. And I met his booking agent, and she agreed to take me on. So I'm looking to do a lot more conventions and getting out there more. And I'm also starting to work on my next book.
Great. So, I mean, will the next book be then? What will that be about then?
It'll be about Manos, but more about the book that I wrote is behind the scenes of the film itself and some of the things that have happened since then. But this new book will be more about the rest of the Manos universe, all the projects that have come and been inspired, all the talent that has been inspired from this really bad film. It's crazy. There's been a comedy stage production in Portland. I think it was 2015, and I got to be part of that. And in Seattle, there's a puppet theater called Manos, The Hands of Felt, and that's really entertaining and fun. There's a couple of comic books. There's a couple of coloring books. There's a couple other stories that have been written. I mean, there's so many projects. It's bizarre. I've met the most amazing people because of this film. It's really great. I love the Mystery Science Theater crowd. They're my kind of people.
Great. So you mentioned, Jackey, about these conventions. Do you have a chance to get to a lot of them, or?
It depends. I hadn't done much in the last year, or so because of COVID. But I've been a few places. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Texas. Crypticon Seattle's when I've done. I think I've been up there 3 different times, and that's been fun. They always have fun guests. They had Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. She was there a couple years ago, and she had actually shown Manos, The Hands of Fate on her show. So I was very excited to get to meet her, and it turned out she was pretty excited to meet me too. It was quite the honor.
Great. So, I mean, do you have, is the conventions getting back there? I mean, in-person conventions, I mean, is there some coming up, or?
Well, we're getting to the end of the season, so at this point, the only thing I have coming up will be a year from now, as of right now. But this young woman who's booking me, I'll be getting other openings here. They're just getting through this season, and then they'll start booking next year's. But I'll be in where is it? Illinois. It's called DeadCon. It's actually playing this weekend for this year.
Oh, great! Great.
But those are things I'll be showing on my website and my YouTube channel, and I'm getting more organized. I'm getting a better team of people together helping me get organized. I can do the work. I just tend to reach out in so many directions. I just need somebody to help me out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Jackey, I wanted to talk about, you mentioned that you're building a website or working on a website. I mean, is it built? I mean, how's that going?
It's I'm working on it right now. It's not published though, but it's called Jackey's Manos. So Jackey, JACKEYS, and then Manos, MANOS.com. And I hope to have that published at least initially in the next week or so.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, as far as, your social media presence right now, I mean, are you on well, we know you've got your YouTube there, but I mean, are you on TikTok or what's that, Twitter or any of that? Or?
Yeah, I haven't been doing much of that, but I haven't done the TikTok. I've been looking at it a lot. It looks very interesting. I I'm sure there's things I can contribute. And I just haven't done the Twitter much, mostly Facebook, but I am looking to get out there more in different directions.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned now that you're on your YouTube channel. I saw that you're doing like painting classes, and I mean, how is it going? I mean, it's a little different when you're just in front of the camera than when you actually are in front of people. Then, huh?
Oh yeah, I found that was really interesting because I've done a couple just with a couple people online before I launch into a bigger class. Make sure I got a handle on the technology part. But yeah, one thing that cracked me up was I was looking at this woman's painting, and I'm trying to point at something on her painting. I'm like, yeah, put a little more paint right there. Well, she doesn't know what the hell I'm pointing at. So it was, it's just a difference in perspective, I suppose. But so I recently took some online acting classes once a week for 10 months, and I was very impressed on how they were able to translate doing a scene with somebody to being online. So I tried to learn a lot from that.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, as far as if our audience would like to see some of your artwork, is there somewhere online or somewhere that you have that? Or
yes, on my Etsy. I have an Etsy store, and I just opened a new studio space, so I've got so much going on right now, working on a number of pieces at the same time. But yeah, I've got my Etsy store. Now that you're having me think about it, I've done a couple of video tours of my studio space that have gotten a lot of attention. I think if I can put that on the Etsy, and I'll put it on my YouTube as well. But the Etsy is a good place to see what I'm doing and to keep up with what I'm doing. I also make some of the artwork that my dad did in the original film. There's a painting of the master and his dog, his Doberman, that my dad made, and I've recreated it, and I sell prints. And his master's robe, which is a big black robe with big red hands on the front. And my mother made the original, and I make those. I make signed and numbered master's robes. So right now I'm working on number 26 and number 27, signed and numbered. They're custom made. I made one once for a guy in England who was 6'8", and I made one for a woman in Georgia who was 4'11". So they're definitely custom.
Oh, great. So mainly what you used to sell that then is prints, or I mean, do you do like, can you be commissioned to do particular paintings, or?
Yes, in fact, I did, and I sell prints of one of those paintings. One of my fans asked me if I could paint the master as Frank Zappa and his dog as the poodle. So it's Frank Zappa and his poodle, but as the master with the master's robe. So I did that as a commission piece, but most of my regular artwork that's not related to Manos, the Hands of Fate, is I'm a recycler. I live in Western Oregon, and there's a lot of old houses and things that I just, I love that history. And I got to a point where I was collecting old window frames and doors and cabinet doors, and I didn't want to look like a hoarder, so I had to turn them into art. And you can see that on my Etsy as well. And I'll make sure I give you the link as soon as we're done talking here so that you have those things to share. But, oh, well, look, I'll show you one. Oh, I can reach it. So this is a piece of crown molding. And then I put plaster on it. I do like a tinted plaster, and I paint the background. So in this case, I did marbling on the wood, and then you can see my bats. So that's just one of my smaller pieces.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll definitely encourage our listeners and viewers, to check that out. Okay, Jackey, we really do appreciate your time, and we encourage everyone to check out the movie, and check out. So as far as your YouTube channel, what's the best way to get to that? To search your name, or?
Probably it searched my name. See, that's another one of those things I need to get better organized with. But again, as soon as we get off, I will send you the link to that as well.
Oh, great. Okay, Jackey, any final thoughts or anything else you want to mention here?
No, just I hope you go look at my Etsy. I hope you go and see what I've got on my YouTube and check back, because there's a lot of new things coming pretty much all at once. I feel like I've been creatively constipated for a couple of years, and now I have this beautiful new studio space, and I just have so many things going. I just can't do enough of it,
Right. Okay. Thanks so much, Jackey. My guest has been Jackey Neyman Jones, and you've been listening to What's Up America with Mike Kara. And please catch us again next time. Okay.